and let the world know or remind the world who you are, and then I'll introduce
Okay.
myself.
Yeah, and then we can just take turns driving.
Okay.
Um, so I'm Copeland Casati of Green Modern Kits, Green Cabin Kits, and Green Cottage Kits.
And I am Yahya Jeffries-El, and everyone calls me Yah because they really have a tough time with that Yahya. So Yah is good. Yah Jeffries-El from Brooklyn and a partner in L Brothers Properties. And we are beginning our journey into a green cabin kit with Copeland Casati.
And I will let Yah tell the backstory about how we met and um, our relationship. But one of the things I always enjoy, which is why we're starting to record these, our conversations are um, universal and yet so specific to our own particular, individual lives. And we just enjoy them so much. And it's a wonderful, lovely way to overcome the writer's block that I have had. And I was just telling Yah that, here I am in my own Casati that I bought, we purchased and built it almost 20 years ago. And so I was telling y'all that, he's about to start his own Casa Tea journey. But here I am, 20 years later, you're doing maintenance that you would do on any other home. Today, I tracked down an Amish neighbor who is going to, maybe install a new metal roof for me and work on the cladding. And Yah and his family are starting their prefab construction build of a brand new Casati, and they get to choose out their roof finishes and cladding, and it'll all be shiny and new, like I was 20 years ago. We were just saying.
Yesteryear. Um, and it's what's amazing is that, now you're reaching another milestone, right? Probably every
Mhm.
5-year mark is a milestone, definitely a decade, and 20 years. That's a big milestone. Uh,
Mhm.
so in my journey, it started off, I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a Brooklynite. I'm a fourth generation Brooklynite. So we grew up in apartments. So um, just kind of looking at YouTube videos and blogs about homesteading got me on the front end of this journey. I remember just looking in upstate New York on Craigslist, like, all right, what does a house cost like in upstate New York? Not a fancy town, not a town with lots of museums and shopping but just a house. And I was like, oh, that's actually within reach. Just in terms of it not being, $2 million for a studio apartment like it is here in New York City very often. And but fixer upper. So what I learned is that it's almost the same price to just acquire land and develop it. And there was but I like the idea of just owning the land and having something that's energy efficient and, potentially completely off grid, to kind of participate in um, this ownership dimension, that was foreign to me as an apartment dweller, as the generations of renting apartments. And so the more I got into it, I started learning what's possible. Some other places in upstate New York where, they've got these really flashy CAD drawings of homes, and then they kind of go under pretty quickly because you've got these drawings that are, I guess according to the computer program, structurally sound, but has anyone built these and has anyone lived in them? So I found this link to a blog called Inhabit, and that's where they had green cabin kits and Copeland Casati's business. And so I followed through the links and went to the website, and I read your blog entries, and I looked at your photos and the clips, and I saw the kids and the dog out there, and I saw the bike out there. And the difference is this is proof of concept. This is not just something I drew up on a computer and did like a 3D virtual model. Like I live here, like I raised my family here. These are pictures of the actual space. And there's nothing that's a bigger selling point than the founder standing behind the product or standing inside of and under the product, as it were. And so did some outreach and, obviously a pandemic later, we're greasing the skids once again, but just for the outset, and maybe this will be the part that we actually use is I found this great blog entry on your company. I saw that you lived in the house, and that's what separated it from everything else that I looked at. It wasn't just a CAD drawing and a 3D rendering, it was real life. And the blog entries gave it more life and more dimension. And I said, that's what I want for myself. That's what I want for my siblings. That's what I want for my nieces and nephews and for my elders is this kind of loving space, this kind of lovingly conceived space as well. And with love for people and connection and family and for environment and for energy and for nature. So that and here we are.
Well, thank you for mentioning the blog because it was something I really did not just for my prefab house kit company, that I'm trying to get back to. And thank you, Yah, for pushing me back into this space because I feel like I said in the beginning, that so many of these conversations and odd things that we share that we don't think are important. And for time eternal, families have tried to struggle on how to survive, how to succeed, how to take care of each other. And what we as a society have kind of forgotten, I feel, with the rise of retirement industry in the 1950s, 60s until now. Why work so hard to then shovel your entire wealth to a corporation when it's hard? It's not easy. I empathize through for all the caregivers, but there's also a lot to gain, and that we have kind of forgotten that many of my neighbors who either can't afford the fancy retirement home or prefer to not live in modern society, like many of my Amish neighbors, they all figured this out and how to then not only take care of each other, but pass on that wealth to the generations yet unborn to protect that property. And like we were talking last week, I said, yeah, you're starting you're gonna one day your family could have a bicentennial farm. And
Mm,
today, these are the first years of its founding. And I, as growing up in the South, and I grew up with farms, and I live on a farm. I too, even people who have had farms in their family for, we struggle with the splitting up of farms and how to maintain the entire property equitably and sustainably. And so I think, again, just every conversation that we have, it usually starts out with, so what's going on the project? And then quickly we're off on another tangent. So I hope that I think we're going to have a lot of fun exploring all these topics over the winter.
absolutely. Absolutely.